Get ready. Helena Hustle is now live. Here, we will showcase successful leaders in business, athletics, healthcare, and all things that make Helena a great place to live. Join Dr. Daniel Bridge, owner of Endurance Chiropractic, as he searches out amazing individuals who are making a tremendous difference in this place we call home. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired with the Helena Hustle podcast.
Carol, how you been?
Good. Busy.
You're one of the busiest people I know.
Me
that
too.
That hasn't changed, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's all self-inflicted. I made a decision a long time ago that I was only going to do what I wanted to do and be as busy as I wanted to be, and anything that I don't want to do, I actually say no a lot.
When did you make that decision?
In my mid-30s.
Okay.
30s are rough, you guys. They're rough.
And
yeah,
how has it been sticking to that?
It's been amazing. It really gives yourself permission to just let go of things that are maybe other people's expectations of you. And you can just go, that does not work for me. It's not on my list of things to get done in my life ever.
So maybe that's it. But for those people who are struggling, that aren't getting everything in their life done and they have a hard time saying no, do you have any advice for them?
Well, mine was extreme. I just quit everything.
Yeah.
Like I told my kids to get a new mom. I told my husband to get a new wife. I'm like, if all I am is a to-do list, because there's so much to do when you have 4 kids and, families and work and all of these different things. And I just reprioritized and quit committees in the community that I was on, so many. And I just said, find somebody else. And they were like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? I'm like, no, it's okay. Just when you find somebody, I won't be doing this any longer.
Right.
And I just told my kids, I said, I'm doing one thing a day. You may not be that thing. So you're going to have to figure out how to do your own laundry. So my kids at age 8 did their own laundry.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm like, if I didn't have time for dinner that day, you might have cereal and you're going to live. And I'll still be here.
Right.
I will still be here. And through all the flaws, I've said, I don't know, but I'm still here.
There's only so many hours in the day and you can't do everything.
So what I found was I got rid of everything and I added back in probably 85% of what I was doing. I still did. But getting rid of that 10, 15% was huge. And they weren't important, and it was okay to say no. So it was great. It was liberating.
Yeah. That's a Pareto's principle. The 20% of the salesmen make 80% of the sales.
That's right.
20% of your things in your life cause 80% of your problems and your stress. Identifying those, cutting out the bad, identifying the good, and amplifying it.
Yeah, and you can do it all at once, like I did, which is kind of extreme. I took 2 weeks off and did literally nothing. I was so tired, and I said, me and the 4-year-old, that's all I'm doing. For 2 straight weeks. Yeah. But then I was like, ooh, you know what sounds good for dinner? And then I cooked something amazing for dinner. So that from that time on, I'm like, ooh, you know what would be fun? So then I did it. Yeah. Instead
of trying to force things. I've heard, and I'm definitely not the expert, but with like potty training kids, you wait when they're ready and it's 1,000 times easier than trying to force it on your own schedule.
Or learning their energy type, learning their personalities and what works for them. Some it has to be fun, and others it has to be not an inconvenience, and make it as fast as possible so they can move on with their day. And, you have to get to know them. So tricks. Yes, tricks. Grandma tricks. Yeah.
Okay, Carol. So let's move forward. Let's go with your 2 truths and a lie.
Okay, sounds good. So my two truths and a lie. This is a fun game. And actually, I had to think about it for a long time. So these are 3 really important things. I can cut up a chicken in 38 seconds into 8 pieces.
Okay.
I can cut up a chicken that fast. I shot a record book, bull elk.
Okay. Right? That one I believe. Keep going.
And I gave up a dance scholarship.
Gosh.
I coughed up a dance scholarship. I passed it up for a different scholarship.
Okay. I'm going to say the chicken is the lie.
It's true.
It's true you can do the chicken?
I can. I worked at a KFC in high school, and that's where I got my huge arms, was hefting 70-pound boxes of chickens as a 17-year-old.
Where was that at?
Kiowa up in Glacier Park. It doesn't even exist anymore.
I
It's a little
didn't
fun
realize that they had whole chickens and they butchered them there. I'm sure they don't now, right?
I don't know. We did.
Uh-huh.
We had huge boxes of chicken, and
Uh-huh.
I would cook 5 at a time in my big, huge,
5
deep fryer.
chickens or 5
chickens.
pieces? Oh,
5 chickens at
Uh-huh.
a time. Each one fit on a tray, and I
A
could
whole
cut
chicken?
a whole chicken.
before you cut it up.
No, you cut it up.
Oh, gotcha.
And then you put it on the tray.
Uh-huh.
And there's 5 trays, and you lower it down, which is pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And lower it down into, pressurized oil, no
Uh-huh.
problem. And and yeah, I could cut up a chicken in 38 seconds. But
Really?
I'm really wicked
That's
with a cleaver.
impressive. Okay, so one strike for me. Let me guess again. I think that I feel like you've shot a record bull elk. So is the dance the lie?
The dance is true.
The dance is true. You never shot the bull elk. Huh?
I didn't shoot a record book bull elk. I shot it's 1 1/8 inch off from the record books on a whitetail deer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've shot a big elk, and
Cool.
it's huge, but it's not record book,
Uh-huh.
especially in Montana because they're huge.
Yeah.
But I did shoot a record book whitetail.
Where was that at?
Are you kidding? Who are you? You don't ask those questions.
All I want is the GPS coordinates.
Could you show me the that way?
Helena area?
Yes.
Or, I mean, you probably have to report it, right? If you get it. Oh, I guess it wasn't a record.
It wasn't
so.
quite.
Yeah,
but
so
it was one of the
you
biggest.
can keep your secrets.
It was one of the biggest whitetails ever taken by a woman in the state
Really?
of Montana.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
And then tell me about dance. What kind of
So
dance?
they let me choose.
Uh-huh.
They had a ballroom dance team, and they had clogging, and they had jazz and ballet.
And you knew all of that?
I knew all of that.
Wow.
And I started dancing when I was like walking.
Okay. Yeah.
But I took lessons from the time I was 3.
Remind me where you grew up.
I grew up in Salt Lake.
Oh, okay.
And then moved to Billings.
Okay.
So I still danced a ton.
How old
in
were you when
Billings.
you moved to Billings?
12.
Okay.
So those are all true. So my mom's a concert pianist. She's amazing. And she played for a ballet teacher so that they could slow it down and then go faster and faster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how these ballet artists make it look so easy, because they have that muscle memory from really slow, but you have to do it with a live pianist.
Okay.
So I got free lessons on anything I wanted, and
Okay.
I did them all. So they said I could choose, and I was going to choose clogging because it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's just party.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, right. Can you imagine my ankles clogging now? Yeah. Anyway, but it was super fun, and but I passed it up so that I could go to a better nursing program at Weber State, and I had a violin scholarship there.
A violin. Oh, I didn't realize you played the violin.
Yeah.
Do you still play the violin?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, violin and piano.
Do you still dance?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, all by myself when nobody's looking. It doesn't look the same. It's not stage worthy, but it's still fun, and it's good exercise.
Yeah. And so how many years did you play violin at Weber State?
I just used that scholarship for 2 years.
Okay.
And I had an academic scholarship
Okay.
too.
Cool.
So.
Of course you did. Nice. And then
You just show up for life, right? You just keep showing up for those lessons.
Uh-huh.
You just don't quit. You can get a lot
put
done.
the work in. Sure. Have you read the book Grit by Angela Duckworth?
I haven't read that one.
Really, really.
Sounds like me though.
It definitely does. But they've done all these studies where they take kids and they put them into 2 groups and they have them do a task. And one group they said, "You're so smart, you're so strong, you're so good." And the other group they say, "Hey, you tried really hard, you worked really hard. I'm really impressed with your effort." And the group that was praised for their effort did way better in life because they knew that it was within them to do that, versus this other group, if they failed at something, inside they say, "Oh, I'm not talented enough,"
Right.
versus "I didn't try hard enough." And there's all sorts of different studies on sticking with it, having grit, and what it can do for somebody.
Yeah, 10,000 hours, guys.
Yeah.
Just clock in your hours, and you'll be great.
Yeah, highly recommend that book. So you went to nursing school. How long were you a nurse for?
10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, more than that. You never quit. I still have an
Right.
active nursing license.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Nurses never die.
Sure.
They're like 80 years old
Yeah.
and still do their nursing license. So I worked at the hospital in acute care, right? I worked as a float nurse for 10 years. I actually started the float
Oh.
pool at St. Pete's. They
Oh.
didn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know how to do that. And I said, well, I just finished my preceptorship.
Mm-hmm.
For the last 6 weeks, I've been a float nurse, so could I just do that? They're like, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Float nurse means what?
Float nurse means you work everywhere
Oh.
as staff. So before that, if you had an OB nurse, say it was low census on OB, but it was super busy in ICU, all of a sudden you have an OB nurse in ICU. But they might not have been in ICU for the last 10 or
Okay.
15 or 20 years,
Right.
which means don't touch anything, just take vital signs.
Mhm.
Don't touch anything.
Yeah.
But thank you for taking vital signs. So they weren't a lot of help to them. Same thing true of an ICU nurse going to OB.
Mhm.
But when you're trained as a float nurse, you take all the knowledge from school, your pediatric, your ICU, their cardiac life support, you take all of it with you.
Mhm.
And so I worked as staff
Mhm.
everywhere, and I worked charge nurse a few places
Mm.
when they needed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 10 years at St. Pete's.
Mhm.
Great. How
Mhm.
was your time?
I loved my job.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I saw some flaws as far as especially chronic
Mm-hmm.
problems. So it was discouraging to me to watch people not get their needs met when it was a chronic issue.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not good at it. It's just
Sure.
not their forte. If you
Right.
get in a car wreck, it's awesome.
Amazing at acute care.
Acute care, crisis management, do that. I loved that. And that's part of why I loved probably ICU more than any place else.
Was that your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
What did you like? Tell me specifically about ICU. What did
Oh,
you like?
you don't have the chaos of ER
Mm-hmm.
and that, the whole nonsense and drama that can go on in an ER situation. But by the time, when they get to ICU, now you can really get to work,
Mhm.
right? Now you can really start implementing, it's like triage, and then now you can start making those huge shifts
Mhm.
and watching people and helping them survive the worst days of their lives.
Right.
Right. And families in a more controlled situation, you go to them, talk to them, it's much more, now
Mhm.
we're going to cope with this, guys.
Less screaming and being scared.
Yeah. And there's no security risks,
Mhm.
that's less there. So I loved the intensity,
Mm-hmm.
there's like 16 IVs running and
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
And at some point you made a transition. Tell me about that.
So I left the hospital and worked in a doctor's office, which I loved, internal medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Worked for a pulmonologist. And then after I had my fourth babe, I stayed home for a little while. It's time to be a mom for
Uh-huh.
a few years,
Sure.
full time. And then I worked for an oxygen company for a little bit, which is where I got used to scheduling my own time, which is a fantastic, oh my gosh, once you own your own time, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to schedule my work that fit into my lifestyle, my family's schedule, which was great.
Let's just
And then
pause on that for a
yeah.
second. So owning your own time, I find that for entrepreneurs and just people in general, being a student of their calendar, being happy with how they manage their time, that's a big challenge for people.
Well, and it's a great stress management tool. It's like, well, instead of dropping off my daughter at, she would go to preschool,
Mhm.
right? And then I could go see my clients instead of going shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I could have just gone shopping all the
Mhm.
time, but I was like, well, I can book my clients during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, finding ways to manage your own time, diving in deep for intense projects, and then when you're not in the middle of a project, completely letting go
Mm-hmm.
and being able to totally reboot.
Mm-hmm.
So people are like, do you go all the time? And I'm like, no. But
Mhm.
when I hold still, you can't budge me.
Mhm.
I'm out.
Do you meditate?
I do.
Nice.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
That's a great
I do,
practice.
especially in our new technology, which is super fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited
We'll
to get
get
to
there.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so good.
Yeah. So about that same time, so this is about 2002, 2001, my husband had bone spurs on his feet, and his friend was like, well, I did this biofeedback thing, and it helped my knee, and so maybe it'll help your feet. And I didn't understand it. I didn't like it. I was very skeptical, and my husband's friend also happened to be his boss. And he's like, I'm going to have to either try this or get a new job. He goes, will you at least look at it long enough to make sure it's safe? So I took a peek at it and I said, I don't understand it, but I don't think it can hurt you. And we were faced with surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, we had tried everything. They were severe on the heels of his feet. He had these tetons growing out of his bones. It was just unbelievable. The doctor was like, I don't know how you ever walk. That's crazy. So we tried it. And we thought, well, we'll give it 10 sessions. We're re-educating the body, so we know it's not going to be instant, right? So after 5 sessions, I said, by the way, how are your feet? And he said, they're the same, maybe worse. They're awful. But I don't have headaches anymore. I haven't had a headache for like 3 weeks. We would get these he has huge muscles in the back of his head, and those muscles would get real tight after standing on concrete, which he did a lot in his work. And so he would get these tension headaches every day. And he goes, I haven't had a headache for like weeks now. That was the first thing to go. And he goes, guess what I ate yesterday? And I said, what? And he said, I ate popcorn. I said, really? So he had esophageal spasms, and anything dry would trigger his throat to just clamp down, and he couldn't swallow. So he'd have to like rinse food down all the time.
I wonder what made him decide he was going to have popcorn if he knew that it was a trigger.
I'm sure there was a sugar coating on it somewhere. So yeah, sorry about that. So he was able to deal with that, which his dad also had severe esophageal spasms and had to go get his gullet stretched, right? You've heard that phrase. That's what he called it. So he goes, I got to go in and get my gullet stretched. He'd do endoscopy with bigger and bigger tubes until he had a throat again and could swallow. And we just thought we were heading down that same route.
Yeah.
And so that went away.
Wow.
So after 8 sessions, one morning he got up, went to the bathroom, came back to bed, and no noise, because usually that was very painful. And I said, how are your feet? He's like, what are you talking about? He's tired. And I said, how are your feet? You just got up and walked to the bathroom, and you didn't, like, no expletives, no screaming. That was very quiet. So he goes, oh my gosh. And he jumped out of bed and did a little tap dance. He goes, I have no pain.
Really?
So in 8 sessions, we finished the 10 sessions that we had purchased, and that was in the end of 2001. And his friend said, Carol, you need to do this. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go back to school, and I'm going to get my nurse practitioner and help people with chronic issues and look for these underlying causes. And he goes, yeah, that's nice, but this is better. And it just wouldn't go away. So I ended up buying my equipment and going to training in June 2002.
Okay. Did you start Dynamic Health at that point?
I didn't.
Okay.
So it was just me, sole proprietor, just me and my machine, and then 2 machines, so I could
Did you have a retail space, or did you travel around, or people come to your house?
I went to people's homes for just about maybe 3 or 4 months, 6 months, not very long. And then I had an office. And
here in town?
It was over on Fee Street. It's the building you've driven past a million times and never saw. They're like, that's right, there is a thing there. Yeah, that's where I am. So had an office there until 2011. And in 2011, I incorporated and brought on a really fantastic board, amazing people. And we brought on a lot of these other technologies. So I just started looking for technologies that would help people heal faster. So that's Dynamic Health Technologies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so the first 10 years it was just biofeedback.
Yeah, just me. And
you had 2 machines, you said.
I did. So I could do like a husband and wife at the same time, or I could do a mother-son. That would never work, right? If I had 2 strangers sitting in the same room, snuggled up in recliners and running 2 machines, you wouldn't want to do that with somebody else. But if it's a family member or friends or whatever, then they would schedule at the same time, and I could run 2 at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you incorporated, when did you say, 2011?
2011.
Okay, so 12
years.
Nice, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
and you've grown like crazy in that amount of time. What do you attribute your growth to?
Results. Yeah, results. The results speak for themselves. So when you have people who have tried everything, like my husband, right? No matter what the issue is, when you've just experienced that fatigue of trying everything and not having things work, and when you're able to flip that, people notice. They're like, "Oh, you're not supposed to be here," or "How come you're out of your wheelchair?"
Right.
Or "How come you're able?" I went bike riding and they were invalids at home with cardiac invalids, with no circulatory system at all, and now they're hiking. And that's what works.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How big is the building you're in now?
The whole building, so it's 4,800 square foot footprint.
Yeah.
And so that's the size of the clinic right now.
Yeah.
So it has a full basement, actually. It's 4,800 square feet down there.
Also down there.
Which is great for storage.
Yeah, you need storage.
And I have a little gym down there.
Heck yeah.
We built a little space for all of the employees
that's a
and
great
stuff to
perk.
go down and go down and work out and be able to have your own private equipment and turn on music and go at your own pace. So yeah.
I know you have so many cool things. Obviously, we've discussed biofeedback. You do hyperbaric oxygen.
Yes.
Emcella. We can't dive into everything, but tell us about the new technology that you've been doing this year.
We have 11 technologies now.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's super fun.
What a great service for the community.
And we have the latest one. It's called the Energy Enhancement System, and you can go to eesystem.com and look up more of the research and science behind it. It is so fun. So it's just photon therapy. It's light. And so you have these monitors, and they have photon generators that are hooked to them, and they project photons to the center of the room, which collide. And it fills the room with these photons, these teeny, teeny, tiny fractions of light. But they interact with your cells. And it's been so fun to it's like an exclamation mark on everything else we do. So it's like, do your biofeedback and then go sit in the EE system for an hour. Come in the evening and in between sessions and do the hyperbaric or the whatever at the same time.
So is that how long a session is, an hour?
Yeah, so you would do it, we encourage people to do 2 hours because at the end of the hour, about 45 minutes into it, is when you really feel that deep meditative state that so many people struggle to get into. And of course, once you practice at it, now, like last night, I finished a project and then I just stood in there for about 10-15. I just sat down for about 10 minutes, and it's like, right into
so
that.
It's very
deep
relaxing for
it
people.
It is really relaxing.
Do people struggle to stay awake?
Oh yeah, go to sleep. You're in big recliners. A lot of people sleep.
Oh, and that's fine.
That's totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we give free earplugs in case somebody else is snoring in the room.
Oh, so you can have multiple people.
Yeah, so we can fit 11 people at a time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And are there zones in the room that are stronger?
No.
Okay.
I know, you'd think there would be because of the way the technology works. There's just monitors. You just walk in and here's TV screens is what it looks like. There's 3 in each corner, and there's just colors that are flashing and scrolling, and you don't have to look at them.
You can be closing your eyes.
Yeah, I wear it.
Do you have to have skin showing?
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't.
It's not like red light therapy.
No,
or
it's more
anything.
like it's like a sound bath. You ever been to somebody who's doing like Tibetan bowls and that
Just
fills the
seen it on
room
YouTube,
with
but I've
phonons?
never been.
Oh, so we're doing one tomorrow night.
Really?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
doing a sound bath in the EE system room. So you get the light and the sound.
Cool.
And what's interesting is we had Jen Daly is her name, and she's doing her bowls, which are gorgeous and beautiful. So she's coming tomorrow night, and I've had her do sessions before doing sound therapy, phonon therapy, right? But now she's done it in the light room, and the light moves the sound. It's different. You can hear. I can hear the difference.
Really?
Yeah, it's really
Wow.
fun.
So yeah.
Bouncy.
Huh.
Yeah.
Who would, if somebody was asking themselves, I wonder if I'd be a good candidate for, it's called Energy Enhancement. wonder if I'd be a good candidate for that. How do they know if they are? I mean, I'm sure everybody could benefit from it, but is there a specific person that could benefit more?
There's not. Like hyperbaric, everybody can probably benefit from hyperbaric as long as you're safe to go in there. You don't have blown ears or collapsed lungs and things like that. So everybody, you can use that for anti-aging, restores stem cells. Everybody's going to benefit from hyperbaric. But with EE system, it's even more vague because I don't know how the photons are going to interact with each person. Everybody's different. But we've seen some really amazing results. We had a lady who had a severe burn. 40% of her body was burned, third degree. She's lucky to be alive, and she's a mom of 3 kids, 35 years old, mid-30s.
Wow.
And she's been on prednisone for 4 months to get the swelling down because she's still so much edema in her throat. She could barely move her neck. She has skin, which is miraculous.
Yeah.
But she can't move, and she looked like a linebacker, just that really great, awesome, huge neck. And she, after 3 days, she looked completely different.
Wow.
It was measurably down. You could see inches that had drained, from that. We have people who have had struggles with their blood sugars, and their blood sugars have dropped.
Wow.
And we have people whose eyesight is improved, and we have other people who had headaches, and those are gone, or tinnitus, and those are gone, or whatever.
Wow.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting to just watch and see how people respond. I've had times when I was really energized by being in there, and I've had other times where, I need to stay and just sleep in here. Yeah, I just want to relax. So, yeah.
That's nice. Well, I'm excited to try that.
It'll be fun. Yeah, it's good.
Can you share how people can get in touch with you? Address,
Contact
phone number,
information, yeah. So we're at 950 North Montana Avenue, which is just kitty corner from Helena High, on the south side. We were on the north side. Now we're on the south side.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So we have our phone number, 406-465-5125. You can text that number.
Oh, awesome.
You can call 431-7332, which is still our old landline that I won't cough up.
Sure.
And then you can always go to the website and go to www.dynamichealthtechnologies.com. And you can also book your appointments online for the Energy Enhancement System.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, you can just go on, book your session.
Do you need a new patient intro, or just anybody could book one of those?
Yeah, there's you don't need a new patient introduction, nothing. You can just independently go on and go through it's an easy process, and there's some paperwork that you can do online. You just initial it, sign it, and you can do your payments, everything. You just show up, go to sleep, have a good day.
Cool.
And then leave when you're checking out.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing about that, Carol.
Isn't that fun?
Very fun and interesting. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to trying that. I guarantee I will not be able to stay awake. I'm a napper, so.
No,
but that
most
sounds
people
like
don't.
a really great way to take a nap.
It is.
So good.
It's fun.
Okay, well, thanks, Carol.
You're welcome. Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Helena Hustle Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Helena Hustle Podcast.